What's going on, everybody? Jorge Aquino coming to you live and direct. It's Tormenting Tarmac, the podcast where the enthusiast never dies. Hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Recording my second podcast of the day. See, this is why taking the day off and having as much PTO as I do comes into play, and it's so beautiful. I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. We're taking the direction of car culture a little bit further east today. We're not going down to Florida, though. We're taking it all the way up to New York City. I have two wonderful individuals as guests today. Um, Two people who, over the last few months, have gotten a chance to go ahead and see grow on Instagram. And um, this is the type of stuff where you go ahead and see someone and they're already doing something amazing, and then you come into it a little bit further along and then you see, oh my god, they're about to go ahead and take it to a whole nother level, and you just have to sit there and watch in amazement as someone accomplishes their dreams. So let me go ahead and get everybody introduced here in just a second. I want to go ahead and first of all introduce Tom Gorelik, calling in all the way from Brooklyn. How are you, Tom?
Pow. I'm gonna do the brief thing. Pow.
Wow, I love
I'm
it,
doing
dude. What's
good.
going on? Awesome, dude. It's a
I
pleasure to
I
have you.
literally thank you.
Yeah. You were saying you were literally.
Oh yeah, I literally just got home from picking up a 944.
I love
What?
that.
Which one did you get?
The maroon one with the beat up paint from Stanford.
Please leave it beat up.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's
Yes.
exactly why I bought it the way I did. So
Yes.
yeah, yeah. I
I
just wanted
love
something
that.
with like I wrote on Instagram, solid
Yeah.
bones, shit paint, perfectly
I
fine.
love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
that's amazing. Patina is a thing these days, dude. Patina is the thing these days, and you love to see it. Um, the second person that we have on the podcast tonight happens to be one of Tom's very good friends in the car scene in New York, as well as someone who has assisted him throughout many of his ventures throughout this entire time. That happens to be Sarah Jilla. Sarah Jilla being on the podcast tonight. How are you, Sarah?
I am good. How are you?
Doing fan freaking tastic. It's truly an honor to go ahead and have you guys both on. Um, Let me go ahead and give you guys a little BTS about what happened to me earlier today. I misread a text message and then misgave the information to Sarah. And then we were waiting for Tom for like 15 minutes at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon here on on the West Coast. And then I reread the text message and realized that I can't read anymore. And thankfully I have glasses, but I need to get a better prescription. So that was my bad. Um, but that is let's kind of get started right there, dude, because yesterday we were getting ready to go ahead and do this and whatnot, and you posted this story of you getting this like dope ass 944. Like, is that like is Porsche been the thing from the very beginning for you?
No, honestly, no. I have like the quintessential 12-year-old in 2000 story. I got stoked on Fast and the Furious. I
Yep.
saw a little EG Civics and I was like, I want all of that. And I guess to give a long story short, first car was a Civic EK coupe, then an
Okay.
EP3. Then I was like, cars are too expensive because I was just a broke college boy at the moment. So I had a Camry, and then I sold that, moved to New York, and then my first car in New York was a Camry, $200 car, best investment ever. And then I started making some more money, like stopped drinking, changed up my life. Got a turbo Miata, NA Miata.
Okay.
Um, then COVID happened right after I finished rebuilding the turbo kit for more autocross action. So I sold that, got my first ever German car, F30 335i, trash engine. And then right before I sold the 335, Sarah and her buying and selling came into the picture. And I was telling her, we were on a shoot for Car Stories before it even became Charisma. And I was shooting the shit with her. And I was like, I want to get rid of this BMW. It's costing me too much money. Turbo kit and also a new engine. I'll say no more. So I was talking to her and I was like, oh, really like I want an E92. I really love that F65 engine, or maybe like a 996 C4S. I'm starting to really love the way like the rear end looks. And she's
Yep.
like, oh, you like those? I might have them coming. And maybe within like 2 weeks, I had it in my possession.
Wow.
So, but yeah, so
That
with that being said, though, the 944, that was more of a recent inspiration because my girl got one a couple months back.
Okay.
And I always thought they were like kind of unique looking, but obviously when you think of Porsche, you think of 911, or at the
Yeah,
very least like a Cayman, but something that like where the engine's behind you.
very much.
Whereas in this case, I started to shop around. I'm religiously on Marketplace. So all my research or my search history, the algorithm feeds it right back to me every single day. So I kept on seeing more 944s. And I'm like, fuck, these cars are really cool. And I should probably snatch one up before they like really skyrocket. And yeah, after a failed attempt 2 weeks ago, I kept on searching, still had the cash on me, and this one came up in Stanford. And I just so happened to be driving to Massachusetts Saturday morning, so literally at like 7:45 a.m. on a Saturday, I was like, all right, cool, what's the deal? Let's shake on it. I'll pick it up on Monday. My girl will come meet me here and we'll drive it down. So that is how I got a 944 now.
That's amazing, dude. I'm telling you, some of these car transactions, they happen on a whim like that. Sarah,
Yeah.
I mean, you were saying like you were telling me earlier that you were part of the reason, you were the major reason, obviously, that Tom was able to go ahead and cop the 996 that he has. You were helping him out with car stories and whatnot. Now, before we get into that, I want to go ahead and preface and explain what Tom and Sarah do in New York, because it's so dope. First of all, like, Sarah's a dope ass car enthusiast. She's got a kick-ass 964 that's in the middle of being rebuilt, which we're going to go ahead and be talking about tonight. And she's into awesome German executive saloons, which also we're going to go ahead and get into as well. But Tom, you brought up car stories, which has now become something even bigger. At as of moment in time, and this when did this when was this made official? Like about a month and a half, 2 months ago, officially, right around there,
Beginning of January.
beginning of January. Okay,
Yeah. But
so
the first episode didn't go live until shit,
I think it was like
March or like
March.
late
Yeah,
February. Yeah.
yeah.
Something
So
like that.
Tom has recently become the editor slash producer of the new style videos over on the Drive's YouTube channel, which is just incredible, dude. Massive congratulations. I think we're maybe at 6 or 7 videos have dropped by now, maybe 5 or 6. How many?
Mm, well, yeah, probably 6. I want to make a correction though. I'm
Yes,
just
please.
a shooter, director, editor of this series, but like I'm not the producer. Like there's Kyle Charamka, he's the what's it called?
The editor in chief.
Editor in chief. Yeah, yeah. Thank
Gotcha.
you.
No, no problem.
So
And I
yeah,
apologize.
he's the one
I
that like
didn't.
saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the one that like saw the series and he was like, "Oh, like this would fit with what we're trying to do going forward because it's also kind of speaking to what they've done in the past." Yeah, I just want to put that
I,
on wax so that no one calls me out.
I was telling him earlier how I wouldn't give you the 996 until you hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah, and that was true. He really fucking went for that. I'm like, all right, cool. I guess light a fire under me to get that first 1,000 on YouTube. So appreciate you for that.
Yeah,
I definitely I
don't
made a
spend
couple
all
fake
that 40.
emails. I made fake
We both
emails.
we
I had
both
Sarah
did.
reach out to people and be like, subscribe to this. Yeah. Whatever, it worked.
It
It
worked. It
really
worked.
did. It really
Yeah.
did. And so I wanted to go ahead and make sure that I prefaced that. I didn't want it to be like, oh, he's in charge of the entire Drive's YouTube channel. That's not what I was trying to say. But this series alone, which is one of the, it's already a big one in and of itself. Them kind of restructuring that YouTube channel and whatnot. Sarah, let me take it over to you. How was it that you and Tom kind of came to be homies and whatnot? And where does your car story begin? Because we got EK Civics over here on his end. Where does it start on yours? Because I'm also a big Fast and the Furious fan myself, my dude. I had a 1990 Honda Accord LX 4-speed automatic, 112 horsepower. It was fantastic.
So Tom and I became friends because I did a car story. We met at Porsche Brooklyn, I think. And Alec and
Yeah.
Barris was like, "Oh, you should do a car story on her." And I feel like Tom's initial reaction was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna do it on this girl."
That's not true.
That was
That's
kind
so
of the
not
vibe
true.
I was getting. But
I'm
then we
pretty
were
sure
like,
I had already DM'd you, and I was like, "Yo, I would be really sick to do an episode with you," because you had already done a
really?
Wheels NYC episode. Yeah.
Oh yeah, maybe. I don't know. Well, anyway, then we talked about it and like we came up with the like one for business, one for pleasure concept. And that's what came to be. And Tom absolutely nailed it. And when I saw that, like, I think I watched it like 30 times. I was like, I'm so shocked. Like, I'm 99% sure I blacked out during that entire interview. So, like, I'm surprised you were able to string together like a very fluid video. But
Girl, you've got a business background. You can talk on camera, or you can talk, period. You're very literate.
I don't even know what I say 90% of the time. Just hope it's accurate. But
Sarah's gonna be re-listening to this podcast when it drops, and she's gonna be like, "Did I really just say what I think I just said?"
I
What
told you earlier this week that I was overthinking it already. But
No,
anyway,
you guys are doing great. But go ahead, keep going.
yeah, anyway, my car story kind of like goes through like I came to New York and um I got a car and I realized that it was like another level of freedom because everybody takes the subway or they walked in like in a big city and there was just like that ability to go anywhere, haul anything. And I had a Jaguar XJR which I dailied in the city for very like maybe like a year or two, and it was a nightmare, but but you know what, I'm very grateful for the experience because it taught me so much about cars. And it like just having like the OBD2 in there, I was like clearing codes all the way home. Like I'm so scarred by like restricted performance and like all the things that come along with like British cars. But like now I know how things are supposed to feel, how they're not supposed to feel. Like but and that translated with my 964,
Right.
which I bought entirely broken, which is just like the theme of my life. But you know, I bought that broken and then had that rebuilt, and then it broke again. Well, actually, just needed like a top end rebuild,
Which is
and
normal for those for that
which
911.
is normal. The odometer is broken on it, so I kind of like in the short time that I had the car actually working, I kind of just like literally drove everywhere. I was like so excited and didn't really pay attention to like how many miles I was putting on it. But yeah, it was leaking oil everywhere. So it needed a top end. And in that, I decided that I was like, I should just build it back better. So that's being rebuilt to 3.8 right now. And that's where I land. Oh, and I have a 7 Series, 740.
Yes.
40.
So which one of the things in that particular video, which is the first one that I saw, and the reason why that even came to be is because obviously the three of us, we all know Hootie. So shout out to Hootie from Valve and Piston. Amazing dude. That's how I went ahead and came to see you guys and whatnot. And then I see this like dope ass video, and I'm like, yo, this Tom guy can shoot like a mofo. Like this dude is talented. And then like, Sarah's like really chill. She's this super cool chick. And then like the first car that you see before the 964, which is you think you would be the Pied de Resistance, but then you first see this really, really cool 7 Series and whatnot. And so you talk about the XJR, like, you know, where did this like fast, big sedan thing come from? Is this like something that you grew up with, or is this like the moment you came to New York City, it's like, oh, this is a whole nother level?
So I kind of explained it in my video, but like I love like the like gangster kind of looking like mafioso type cars, and like the Jaguar was just it was a beautiful paperweight, and like that's the extent of it. Like
Right.
I want nothing to do with British cars anymore. So yeah, and then I always loved like the E38, and I think it's just like a very timeless design. Like it's very square,
Yeah.
but also like I don't know, there's just something about it, and like the all black, it's like such a sick car. But right now it's not getting repainted. It's getting a touch up on paint and stuff. So that's away for now.
I gotcha. That's true. Like there's something about those, like, the Benzes, the Beamers, hell, the Audi S8 or A8, depending on what what you enjoy.
A8L baby.
Yeah, those are, I mean, they're super sick. Like it's just,
Oh yeah.
it's like, driving around in the limo and whatnot. When you decided to go ahead and start Car Stories, Tom, before it moved into where it is now, like what was the motivation behind it? Because obviously you have an eye for detail and you have this amazing love for car culture that would have started when you were like, a 12-year-old, just like all of us. What was it that made you translate into filmmaking, my dude?
I mean, I've had a camera in my hand since I was probably like 13, and that all
Okay.
stems from skateboarding. Like everything in my life, I attribute to skateboarding, both good and bad.
Yeah.
And
Who was your
but the
go-to
good,
guy? Who was your go-to guy back then?
like pro skater,
Yeah.
Brandon Biebel.
Okay.
Yeah,
Which
Brandon
one?
Biebel.
Okay.
He used to ride for Girl. He's like
Okay.
this like big brolic white guy with like always had fresh gear or whatever. Him and like Rob Welsh, Stevie Williams. I don't know. There was a lot of them. There was a whole plethora. I could go on and on, but yeah. So in terms of filming, that all started because I was like, oh, I'm not that great at filming or at skating, but filming looks fun, and like I want to make a video because that's how you kind of find out about skating, especially back then. It was
Yeah.
beyond just magazines. Like we had the skate shop, and the skate shop is constantly playing whatever new video is out. And yeah, so I picked up a camera, like figured out how to attain a wide angle lens and started filming that. And then that progressed to, I want to say like 2012, I got my first ever DSLR. And again, just continued filming skating. But at that point, I was like, oh, like HD is kind of readily available. So I wonder what else I could shoot. Maybe I could even get paid for it one day. And so I worked like random. I remember, for example, one of my first internships in New York was a art gallery. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm like definitely on my way. Like I shot an interview with Steve Powers. I don't know if you know who that is, the like the sign painter.
Okay.
Yeah, he was super cool. Eventually I had an internship at Complex Magazine, where I was working on like the editorial side of things. And then I worked at VH1, horrible place. I hate Viacom. And yeah, from there on, it was just like, I don't know, I guess I just kept on getting better and better and like getting more gear. I just
Yeah.
became more and more obsessed with it in terms of like how I can apply my video skills and like my unique perspective per se into like more of these corporate and mainstream clients, facets, products, you name it. And then when it came to the cars, shit, I don't know. I guess like the first one was really just shot on a whim. My
Yeah.
friend Andre, he used to be obsessed with, I guess he's still kind of obsessed with E36s, mostly all cars, but when he came to, let's say, during the pandemic, that's when I started hanging out with him again a lot. And he just started buying and flipping all these E36s. And at that point, I think I was just getting bored with my job. And I was like, yo, like we should just film a video of like a little like video feature, a little narrative, you know? And yeah, I found this location while I was biking around like the week prior, just random like next to a train station in Brooklyn. And this one particular day I wasn't working. I was like, Dre, I have a couple of my GoPros, I have my two main cameras, let's go shoot something. Okay, cool. And so that was that. And I was like, oh, this feels good. Maybe I'll try for episode 2, I'm gonna do my mechanic and then I'm gonna like mount the GoPros on the front and the back of my car. I'm gonna have him chase me so I can get like epic roller shots. And then by episode 3 is when I had already invested in this like suction cup rig where the camera is solid mounted. So it's not
Yeah.
moving, it's not like on a gimbal or anything. But that was like the first time mounting a real camera to the outside of the car. And I was like, oh, this is really fun. Like I want to do more. And I think by episode like 5, I had this very janky, rudimentary. Oh, actually, hold on one sec.
Okay. This is
Hold
amazing, by
on.
the way.
It's his
Hold
setup
on.
is so insane.
Well, the fact that he decided by episode 3 to say, "Oh, I'm already going to go ahead and kick this up to another level when it's like, bro, that's one hell of an investment financially and emotionally to make. But like, that's how you know, like, was taking it seriously by from the very beginning. That's how you know when your passion is getting ready to lead you somewhere onto
Well,
another level.
yes, but here's the thing. I've had my own video gear for a long time because, like I
Right.
said, I've been doing like freelance for a while, like music videos or corporate clients. So a lot of it was just piecing stuff together. This is my first car rig. So this was my own
That's
cloud
so
mount.
crazy.
You can see it's like a spring. And then I rigged some 3-point mounting system here. So the gimbal would go here.
Yeah.
And these two rods, they kind of like triangulated the mounting point. And I would somehow hang this off my car with like 3 studs right here and then have my gimbal hang. And a lot of times back then, I pulled focus because I had prime lenses only. I would pull focus from my iPhone while driving my F30, which was a 6 speed.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah.
It
So, but yeah,
wasn't safe.
ultimately
Well,
too, it's like I don't know. When I like something, I dive in. Like
yeah.
I get obsessed. The same. Like that's why I just decided to buy this car, kind of on a whim, but not really. Like I've been researching them for the past like two. Excuse me, for the past 2 months straight. I'm like, you know what? This could be really fun. I'm about to go buy wheels for it tomorrow.
Oh my
Oh,
God, you're
dude, let's
insane.
Yeah.
go. Let's
Wait,
Yeah.
what
go.
wheels? What wheels?
They're a replica of like I guess a speed line. I'll show you later. I'll send you a photo.
Like a cup? Like what goes on the 964? Like a cup with like the little fingers?
No,
Rivets?
it's got it's got like the fake like 3-piece studs all along the rim. It's got
Mm-hmm.
slightly deep barrels, but I think it'll look cool, especially because it's a 18 by 9 in the rear. But obviously, it's a wheel that's mounted on a Volkswagen at the moment, like a slammed Beetle, and I
18s
already
are
have
really big for that car.
18 by 9. It's going to be aggressive. I'm also going to drop it. And I have fender flares
Yes.
here because I bought them for
Yes.
Shirley's car, and she was like, "I actually don't really want them." I'm like, "Cool, I'm gonna chop up my fenders, add fender flares,
Oh my
and
God.
the adapters I already ordered to adapt a 5 by 1/12 to the Porsche hub. They are an inch thick, so theoretically, then that's a 18 by 9, what plus 10 offset. It's gonna
That
be
Madness.
is
aggressive.
that really is
Yeah,
aggressive.
yeah.
Does it scare you driving that around New York City though, or is that something that you're like, whatever?
No, you can't really have fear driving around in a car anywhere. Yes, I understand. Like, okay, places like let's say where you're at in
Yeah.
Arizona. Like I was
Hmm.
just out there a month ago.
Yeah.
Mesa's got those canyons. You guys have those long, wide highways. That's fantastic. But like also everyone has rock chips. They have cracked windshields out there because that's like every other month.
Literally have one right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's
So
true.
it's like driving a car, you take risks, you make sacrifices. It is what it is. And
I
like
hear you.
also because I've been driving a low car since I was, I don't know, 19 years old.
Yeah.
You just bob and weave around speed bumps and potholes and whatever.
Hey
I don't
man,
know.
I no, I hear you, and I just wanted to, because there's this like there's this thing that all of us that are not from New York, we see how it's presented and how it's like really tough to drive over there, and then the traffic is like some of the most insane traffic on the planet.
It's
Um,
insane.
yeah, like Sarah, how do you enjoy a 964 in New York? Like how does one do so? I mean, obviously there's
The
the
battery
outs.
tunnel,
Yeah.
you take it out of
Over,
New York.
but yeah, you take it out of New York. I mean, like I was kind of for a moment or two or three, I was like kind of sad that like I'm redoing my car to make it so nice because like I'm not going to want to drive that in the city where overheating in like in a tunnel or like having to deal with the potholes or having to deal with like the traffic. And that's why I was keen on like keeping it as automatic
Right.
because I want to deal with like driving sick. Like so many times, Tom's like texted me. He's like, "I'm sitting in terrible traffic outside your house. Are you home?" And I'm like, "No, yes or no." But like,
You
it
just pop out the
happens,
window
and
and be like,
it's a pain.
"Hey."
I've literally done that. Like, 'cause I live like right next to the highway, so I could see him
Love
going that
that.
way. But
Only in New York, dude.
it's
Only in New
it's
York.
madness.
Yeah, that is so
Yeah.
dope.
But there's a special place for car people in New York, and we've all really become friends. Like there's lots of events that, we get together and,
Yeah.
meet unique people, or, just go for a drive or do something like that. And, even in such a populated place, it's like always really hard to like make friends, or, find people who have similar interests as you. And like I
Yeah.
can really attribute a lot of my friends to cars. I mean, hanging out with non-car people is like kind of hard now, because I'm just like, what do I talk to you about?
Right. Well, that's what I was going to ask, because like, many of us know New York City, the entirety of it, as maybe the third or fourth most populated city in the world today, right? No, actually, it's the third most populated city in the world today, behind only like Tokyo and Mexico City. And then you've got New York, and then all of its respective boroughs. You guys have mentioned a few times you're in Brooklyn, and then you still have Bronx and the Queens and Manhattan, and even shout out to anybody in Long Island and whatnot. Like, how would you guys describe what the car culture is like on a small island like that? Because at least like here in Phoenix, as you mentioned earlier, Tom, it's pretty spread out. We have what we can enjoy and whatnot. Los Angeles has its canyons and its mountains and things of that nature. You guys have this tiny little island and whatnot. Like, but what is it about cars that you guys can say this is why we love it here in this place? You know what I mean?
Sarah, you
Ooh.
go first.
I mean, it it's certainly New York is a challenging place to have cars. You kind of make do with what you have, wherever you can hold something, but it's always just like about the cars and the people, and you kind of remove the geographic part of it and just
Right.
focus on what it actually is. It's the same everywhere. It's just, like-minded people getting together and like having a fun time, or like a nice conversation. And you can't discount that. But it takes extra love in order to have it in New York, because you're paying extra for fees, and dealing with potholes that could swallow your car, or just the traffic, the idiot drivers. Like people drive like there's 6 feet of snow out when it's raining, you
Right.
know. But yeah, it's a labor of love.
I like that. How about you, Tom? What when you think about it all, like, car culture in New York, what does that mean to you?
To me, car culture in New York is, how do I say? It's like I love it because it's something that almost doesn't seem like it should be there, and
Yeah,
yet it's so punk that it is. And it's actually like a huge car scene. It's very eclectic. It's vibrant. There's a whole plethora of age groups, ethnicities, brands that car people like, styles of their cars and how they modified them. Um, I don't know. It's so cool to me. Like it's so. I remember, for example, a couple weeks ago, I went to a Daikoku NYC car meet. It's ran by this guy Stan and a couple of his buddies. So I'll give you a little bit of context. Stan spent a lot of time in Asia, and some of it was in Tokyo. So he's seen the true Daikoku meets under the highway bridges and everything that we all, kind of gloss over like on our Instagrams with like
for sure.
GTRs and it's like whatever, all that. And he tried to bring that flavor to New York, which I actually I'm wrong to say he tried. He did bring that flavor here, and like they had the VIP Lexuses. They had a guy pulled up in like a 488, and his buddy had a McLaren. But then there was also like a beat to shit 300ZX twin turbo slammed to the floor. Guy could barely get it into first gear, kept on stalling out. But like he's there.
Yeah.
My buddy made it through in like his Dakar Yellow E36 Turbo M3. I don't know, just like to me
There's a
it
lot
very
of
much
sub
represents.
niches.
Yeah, to me it just very much like represents on like a cathartic level. It represents New York and
Yeah.
living here and what New York in my eyes is. Which I always tell people, they're like, "Why do you love New York so much? Why don't you move? It's so expensive." I'm like, "Because New York is like the most life that you can get, at least in this country. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
you can have your best moment, and by like that 9 a.m. and then by 9:42, you got a bum trying to like rob you with a knife or like puking on you on the train. But then you could also like meet the girl of your dreams 2 days later, and then but then you lose. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
it really keeps you on your toes, and I think that's important because I hate complacency. I think that's a big reason, or at least one of the reasons why a lot of, let's say, our generation was like anti suburbs and being complacent, like the boomer generation, like maybe some of our parents. You know what I mean? Like we
I
want more
get you.
edge, we want more grit, and it's nice to shine amidst grit. You know what I mean? It's kind of like Sarah said, it's like an extra labor of love where it's like you can still do it, but it's like it's gonna weed you out if you're not really fully about it.
Right.
And I think that's special. I think it's you know, it's unique in its own right. And yeah, like I said, it's dope that a lot of people are like this car should not belong here, and yet it's here, and yet that person's about to like blow past a couple lights and like enjoy his Turbo S, even though he's like getting clocked by speed cameras, but it's like fuck it, why not?
Yeah.
You
God,
know?
dude, let me tell you something. You just made me want to run through a wall right now. And you just made me want to say, I want to live in New York City so bad. Like, oh, God, I see for those of you, for those of us who are not native New Yorkers, you know, we see New York and it's so big. Obviously it's big, but it's like this whole nother level of like, oh man, you got to have the right attitude, you got to have the right mindset, you have to have the right emotions to be able to go ahead and survive in New York. But
Not
the
really.
but
You
Maybe
the
got
way you
historically
you
explained
get
it,
speaking.
everything.
yeah. But the way you guys
Yeah.
explained it, it's how do I put this? It's like you just sold me New York City in like 3 minutes. You know what I'm saying? And like, and it's so cool. And you're right. The way that you explained like the different subdivisions and the different sub niches, if you will, um, the way you explain that in car culture, that's literally New York. You know, like that is that. I don't think anywhere else in the country is like that. In the respect of how they go, and even California, which is considered the king of the car scene here in the United States. But I don't know, man. The way that you just elaborated on how you guys go about it over there just makes me just makes me rethink
Yeah.
and
I mean,
reevaluate everything.
like look at it this way, like back to our conversation from before we went live.
Yeah,
Think about the fact that there's two guys out of the Bronx that have two of the fastest BMWs in the world. When you think of Bronx, you think of like poverty. It's poor as fuck. It's per capita. It's like it's bad. The air is bad there. Like, you know what I mean? Like school systems are terrible,
right.
policing, et cetera, et cetera. There's two guys driving brand new German vehicles that are like killing it, not just on the East Coast, but internationally, and they're internationally known. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like that type
I
of
do.
hunger, or even the way that they run the street races out here. They close down the hutch, they lock it off with like 30 cars, and it's like, all right, let's line them up. This is like as gritty as it gets. They have
Yeah.
like big $30,000 pots or whatever, driving these like $100,000 German builds, and then they just go home and like or smoke a blunt, whatever they have to do. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's so,
It's
yeah. That's so
yeah,
true.
it's so sick. Like I don't know, there's something really cool about it. Obviously, I'm not
Yeah.
like promoting like oh go street race and do this and that. I'm just saying it's like
It's a lifestyle.
the there's a certain yeah, but more to that than just the lifestyle. It's like there's a certain like edge and confidence
Yeah.
that New York people have. And also for the record, I'm not a native New Yorker. I've been here for like 13 years. I grew up in Massachusetts. I'm never going to try to like claim I'm native, but also at the same time, I have been here long enough where if you met me, you'd be like, "Oh, this is a Brooklyn boy."
Yeah.
Some of the shit I do and say, I'm like, yeah, yeah.
I love
Yeah,
that,
I've
dude.
I don't.
assimilated.
I think you have. That's safe to
Yeah.
say.
No, I hear you. I mean, just the way that I think about it, because I'm from Tucson, here in Arizona. That's like hour and a half south of Phoenix. It's the second biggest city in all of Arizona and whatnot. And like Phoenix is always what's cool about Phoenix is it's a melting pot,
Hmm.
in the same way that New York is with Phoenix is a melting pot for all these different parts of the country, where New York is all this amazing melting pot of different parts of the world.
Hmm.
With everybody coming over in the late 1800s on the boats and whatnot. Like that's what made New York become what it actually has become
Hmm.
nearly 200 years later and whatnot. Um, Sarah, you and I were talking earlier this afternoon when I messed up the time because I'm stupid. Um, we were talking about, and you kind of brought this up and alluded to it earlier about what, like, the weirdness of the driving laws that is becoming of New York City and whatnot.
Oh
Um,
my goodness.
and I'm just
I'm curious.
curious.
I'm so curious what's going to happen with congestion pricing that's coming and how that's going to like affect what we do and just driving in general. I mean, I can certainly speculate, but you know, it's it's going to be crazy.
It is. Well, it's tough because like so earlier today we were discussing today's Earth Day, right? And so like listen, let me be the first person to say I
So
love this.
Tom buys a 944.
Hey, listen, I was just at
I'm I am preserving a car from going to the scrapyard and polluting the earth
Thank
with
you.
all the
Thank
dust
you.
that would come out
Okay.
of all the
Thank you.
metal,
Thank
the
you.
plastics, the carpeting, and the glass.
there you go. And
Thank
you know
you.
what? How many times have I heard this been said that a car that has been on the road for well over 100 and some odd thousand miles is doing a lot less pollution than these brand new electric cars that are coming out right now that will eventually become clean, but like that's an eventualness, right? The
Yeah.
whole manufacturing of them and whatnot. It's kind of a dirty business. It is what it is. I don't care what anybody says. It's the truth. Like, yes, will they do they eventually kind of make up for it? Yeah, but like the whole process to get where they're to get to in regards to the cleanliness isn't necessarily pretty. And I want more people. I think I think the car enthusiast knows that. The three of us know that. Anybody who's listening to this podcast knows it's kind of a dirty business and it eventually gets cleaner. Whereas, my Kia Sorento that's looking at me right now, I just clocked over almost 102,000 miles. It's a pretty fucking clean car, you know? Like I'm
Yeah.
not hurting the planet. Um I
Well, there's just like the government initiative to like have the EVs and seem like they're doing something, but
yeah,
they're it's kind of backfiring on them and pushing all the OEMs to like floor plan all of the EVs that are not selling. But when you think about the EVs from like a long-term perspective, I mean, I would certainly drive one. Like something cool so fast, like
yeah,
whatever. The price point is not there if you're going to be using it from an A to B car, and then it's going to depreciate heavily. And then when you get to the point where you're at 300 some odd thousand miles on the battery, and it becomes like your iPhone, where you plug it in but it doesn't get like the whole
yep,
100% charge. You're going
yep,
to get to the point where you need to buy a new battery for the car. So then you have a car that has the chassis has 300,000 miles on it, but then you have to put like a $30,000 battery, $40,000 battery into it. So they're just disposable. So like
yeah.
there's no secondary market for it, or I just don't know what's going to become of it and like how it makes. I get the logic behind it, but I just don't see how it would make economical sense to the consumer.
Right. Uh, I was trying to remember what I was going to say. I would hit it now. I remember I would prefer it, and we talked about this earlier. And now that I remember what I'm saying, um, I hate the fact that the government is forcing the EVs upon me. I have a natural inkling and a natural curiosity to what is an electric car. You know, I see it, I'm like, oh, that's interesting, that's a cool thing, but only because I view it that way and I find it interesting. Don't make me say, oh, I have to like it. I can choose to like it or not. And that's where I've kind of gotten to. Like, I like some electric cars, some other electric cars I don't like. You know, we talked about the Rolls-Royce Spectre earlier today. I like the Rolls-Royce Spectre. It's a $500,000 and it's an insanely, like, it's insane. And
It's
I
a
don't,
boat.
it's a freaking boat. And I don't know what the actual range on it is going to be, but like I can choose to like it. But I don't want that. I don't want anybody telling me you have to do it because it's better than the V12 one. It's like, well, no, I'm not sure that's entirely the case. What do you think, Tom?
I honestly have no idea what the Rolls-Royce Spectre is. It
Oh,
sounds big
it's huge.
because it is a
It is a yacht.
Rolls-Royce.
It's a yacht.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Are you asking me what do I think about like the EVs in general as a whole?
more so like, you know, the way that, because we brought up the congestion, the potential congestion charges that they
Yeah.
want to go ahead and throw upon New York City and whatnot. Like, what do you think? Like that kind of messes stuff up for us, right?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, yes. I think from the perspective of like, I don't know, the only time I really ever drive into the city these days into Manhattan is for car meets. So if it's like a once in a while thing, I guess whatever, bite the bullet and do so.
Yeah.
Or if you want to be a little shisty, you take your plates off, or you like scratch off one
Tom.
of the numbers on your plate,
We were
and
we were
that's that.
at a we were at a car show and Tom's walking around with a roll of duct tape, offering it to people, being like, "Oh, you want to put this over your plate?" Because we
Well,
were
yeah, because
illegally
we had
parked.
a yeah, because we had a whatever parking attendant walking around trying to write tickets, and those would have been like $95 tickets.
Bring your own
So
ticket next time.
Yeah.
BYOT. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms of congestion, like yeah, obviously it sucks, but I think also a lot of times these days. So okay, Ubers are definitely going to hit for that, but then also a lot of times you have like commercial vehicles that actually drive into the city over the bridges. And like, if you look at how many parking tickets that they usually have, like in their dash slot, under the windshield, like clearly the company or something is going to be reimbursing for that anyway. So yeah,
Right.
ultimately it's going to affect the company, but then they're probably going to raise their prices for whatever services they provide. It's all going to even out. It's just going to be another nuisance, another bill. Um, but then on the point of the EVs, I just think it's kind of a scam. A, because of what you said, Jorge, where it's like, why are you forcing me to do this?
Right.
Like, let me just make the conscious decision, as we have been with cars for the past 100 plus years. Like, if I can afford it and it suits me, then sure, I'll get it. Because at the end of the day, sure, your car is not emitting the noxious gases, but the power plant that charges your supercharger 250 miles away in like rural New York, that's probably polluting like all the local towns in like a 25-mile radius,
Yep.
that's still emitting that those gases for you. So it's like you can walk around with your nose high in the air and like pretend that like you're doing the Lord's work because you have a futuristic iPad as a car, but like I don't know. I see right through that BS. And also, like, let's be honest. Look at the people for the most part. Look at the people that actually drive these Teslas. It's like similar to what people used to do with the Priuses. The difference here is that Teslas are full electric and also they actually are fast and they have like
Sure.
a big brand following behind them.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know.
I
No,
don't
That's a
think
whole
a
other
Tesla is
tangent.
a car, though. It's not a car.
Yeah, that's an
I'll
appliance. That's
say
what I'm
that.
saying. That's why I call it a
Yeah.
Yeah.
futuristic iPad.
It's a
Yeah.
washing machine.
For sure.
Yeah.
And there's a couple people who I know that own Teslas that are car enthusiasts. So they have their enthusiast vehicle and then their Tesla they use as an appliance. And I'm like, okay, they're using the Tesla as I view it as like the regular mode of transportation to get them from point A to point B. And then like nothing more, nothing less. And then they have their enthusiast car on the side that and they chose to get that EV. It's like, okay, cool. You chose to get it because it fits your lifestyle, and that's cool. That is cool. I don't want it to be that as we continue to go ahead and new cars, and the government is telling all these manufacturers and stuff like that, like, you have to do this. It's like, no, like, it's not feasible for everyone. And it's just a really, really frustrating thing every single time I think about it. And it just, and hell, it's not even affecting us as badly here in Arizona as it affects, some of the other bigger cities that we have in the nation, such as, New York City, and LA is wanting to go ahead and, I don't know if they're going to do a congestion charge, but it's very clear that they have their own set of rules, and, they do their own things and stuff like that. It's a frustrating thing to continuously see. And I just wish that it would be like, just let people choose what they want for their own lifestyle. I don't think that's too much to
I mean,
ask.
there's certainly a lot of people who have put like EVs in like older cars too, or like a battery in like in like I've seen like 911s, and
Yeah.
usually
Yeah.
doesn't turn out very good. Like I've seen a lot of fires.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a
Well,
use case, and like, I don't know, like, to bring up your friend, for example, he's got a Tesla as a daily.
Yeah.
That's cool, but like, even if he bought that for like 30 grand, that's still already a privilege that a lot of people in America at least can't afford. And also from a like
yeah.
a kind of funny, but let's be honest perspective, the interior of a Tesla is like if a car interior was purgatory. Like it's so basic. I like
Yeah.
I just don't understand
Yeah.
it. If you want to get a daily, just get like a Forerunner. I have a
Sure.
Forerunner or a
Yeah.
CRV or a RAV4. Like if you want
Kia
to go
Sorento.
basic, get
Yeah.
a Kia Sorento, Chrysler Pacifica. Shout out to JF Musial and that whole team at Tangent Vector. They put me onto the Pacifica.
Yep.
It's
I'm telling you,
fast.
dude,
Some of them are
minivans are the way
hybrid.
to go, dude.
Yeah, Apple CarPlay. They have all the USB ports in the world,
Yep.
all the space in the world. You can literally, there's a pocket in the back where if you wanted to, you could sit inside there safely and have a little pocket for you to sit in and like film out the back if you really need to. Yeah, I'd way rather that than a Tesla.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like they don't appeal to me. Or just EVs in general, they just don't really appeal to me.
Right.
Never
Uh,
like also think about like what Mustang did, the whole rebranding. It's like
oh, with the Mach-E. Yeah.
what was the point of that? Yeah, like I guess it's kind of a cool looking car, and I see the use case. It's like a SUV-ish crossover.
Right.
That's cool, but again, like, what's the price point to get into one of those?
I think starting at like 40, which is it's not cheap. 40 is not cheap.
Right. And then what
Yeah.
about used market? What do these cars look like used? As Sarah said, after a
Yep.
while, well, let's use Tesla in this example. A brand new battery is like 22.5. Like I'd rather run a 911 into the ground for 100,000 miles and pay 22.5 for a new engine or a rebuild. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
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 Absolutely. Sarah's like, I would know. Just
Story of my life. Broken car club.
yeah.
Yes.
I want to get into that in just a second, but Dom, can I take it back really quickly to going from car stories to then, doing what you're doing on the drive now? Because as I stated to you before we started recording, like, if you are someone who films cars and whatnot, that takes it as a passion, or you do it as a business and whatnot, the dream is to go ahead and take it to the next level every single time, whether it's like, whether or not you were a YouTuber and then you got the call that Netflix wants to go ahead and say, hey, we want to go ahead and give you a pilot and then do like 6 episodes and whatnot. The drive for the last decade plus has been, one of the biggest automotive enthusiast websites, and their YouTube channel was huge for a very long time. It's up there with the Motor Trends and the Road and Tracks and Car and Drivers and whatnot. Like it's huge. The drive is huge. The three of us grew up watching. Chris Harris got his start on the drive. Well, he got his start at Evo and then did the drive with JF when he founded it, and Matt Farah and Mike Musto
Spinelli.
and Spinelli. Shout out to Spinelli. What a
Yeah.
G. And I've Zach Clapman, who did Drive on NBC Sports, who was on this podcast in the past. Freaking G. Like, they called you, bro. and said, "We like what you're doing with car stories. We want to go ahead and put that on the drive." Like, how the hell does that happen? And Sarah, did you have anything to do with that?
I did not have
Uh,
anything to do with that.
Nice. That was
That's
all
all
you.
Tom.
so thank you, Sarah. I can't take full credit because Sarah and our friend Jonathan Walker, fantastic photographer. You should actually interview him. He'd be cool
I would love
too.
to.
They had a couple connections. I wonder if I could speak to it now.
Probably not.
Sarah, yeah, okay. There was
It's best
basically, long
not
story
to.
short.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
that's fine.
Fair
Oh
enough.
yeah, because it might come off as like it's literally not even shit talk, but whatever. The long story short is Jonathan had some friends and Sarah was trying to pitch car stories for me, and we were going to be a trio that sold car stories in the same facet that I'm doing with the drive to this other company, and then communications kind of fizzled out, and that was basically that. So, but Sarah definitely, I think, lit a fire under me for that, and to like realize the potential and I guess the value,
This is
and
the
be able
second
to
time she's
like,
lit a fire under you, huh? First, 1,000
yeah,
subscribers
yeah,
with
You
car
know
stories.
what? He's really good. And like, that's why I'm not going to like let somebody who's like that good not continue on. Like,
Yeah.
it's
No, this is
yeah,
not for me. Like, he's so good at what he does. And like, you see the improvement in every single episode. Like, Mark's car stories was like insane. And then it just like keeps getting better and better and better. And Tom is really good at taking feedback from me.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like, I welcome feedback, and also I don't know. I think it's nice when you know that people are like backing you and
yeah.
trying to see your full potential, and also on like a time management level, a lot of time I'm literally thinking of like, oh, what lavalier mic should I buy, and is this worth like $400 $500 to get that little bit extra better sound of the exhaust, and like, can I hide this any better than like the DJI mic that I'm using, you know what I mean? And Sarah's like, well, here's how you write a proposal and like a business plan, because Sarah is very much more type A in that regard. I'm way more type B. And I'm like, yo, like, please take care of this. Like, here's my Instagram password for the car stories social media. Like, if you want to fill that out with remixes and reels, by all means. I have to like try to edit these next few episodes. But anyways, I'm starting to get tangential. When it came to the drive, yeah, I don't know. I guess, oh, it was Maddox K, who is one of the editors at the Drive. He lives in Williamsburg, and I guess he had seen my content, and yeah, I guess he reached out to Kyle because Kyle was looking for this is Kyle Shrabka. He was looking for basically programming to relaunch the YouTube channel, and at first, honestly, I got the email and I was like, "This is some fucking scam bullshit. What is this?" I was like, "Oh, you're at the Drive, sure, yeah." Yeah, I got one of these from like Essential Water one time, so I know this is fake. And then he left the phone number. I was like, I guess I'll try it. And he was like, hey man. Also in the email, it was like, I promise this is not a scam or spam. Here's what's going
AKA,
on.
it
I was
totally
like,
is.
yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
Classic
I had to look
fishing.
him up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And hold on one second.
Sure, no problem. I'll tell you why I can go ahead and pause this right
Is that my
here.
girlfriend? So, yeah, he reached out. We had a couple conversations, and the the deal that Sarah was trying to strike for me a couple months prior was essentially it was like the exact same thing that Kyle was asking for. It's like we just want 2 episodes a month, maybe 4 if you can do it. I was like, respectfully, I wish I could tell you yes, but I don't want to just give you shit quality content and
Right.
start to, have like a too long of a backlog, burn myself out. And yeah, signed the contract. I'd already had a couple episodes in mind or shot. So yeah, I just started kind of compiling all those and started putting them out.
That's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
That first of all, it's awesome when you do have friends. Like Sarah's the type of friend that you need to have on your side. And shout out to you, Sarah. Like that is
Thank you.
amazing. You are amazing. Because
Yeah, she
you
is.
know when you have so much talent like Tom does, and when you have the passion that Tom does, um, you want to see that type of person succeed and continue to push the limits and continue to get and get seen by people that need to go ahead and see his quality of work and whatnot. I've seen several of the videos from Car Stories, and then I went ahead and I've now seen several of your videos that you've done now for the drive. I watched them, and I was talking to Sarah earlier today, Tom. Now I'm going to say this to you. Like, when you watch a video of like that, and you see it, it's like, well, of course you want to go ahead and see for the car, right? But your your style, the way you present everything for everyone, you give this emotion, and you have this really healthy balance of, yeah, the car is cool, but the person is equally as cool and has equally as interesting a story as the vehicles that they have. And dude,
Yes.
that is so hard to present and whatnot. Like, how I have a I've seen the videos, and I have a way of describing what I view your videos as, but how would you describe it to anybody who wants to know, this is how I go about my this is what my videos are? How would you, what's your pitch?
You just did it for me. Honestly, I appreciate that you can that translated to you, because I always felt like there's been so many people that DM me or somehow reached out like, "Oh, you should do this car. You should do my car." And I'm like,
Right.
"Why?"
Yeah.
Like a lot of people have whatever, I don't know, a Turbo S, or like name any other cool car that's trending right now. It's like,
Tom, do
Well, you
you
that's
could
want a
have.
great.
Turbo S?
That's true. He's
Oh,
speaking
I
it
got
into
Cutlass.
existence.
Cool. Like I don't care.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like people have offered me like, yeah, bro, like I don't want to name names. I actually don't even know this person's name yet. Apparently, Sarah, you probably know him somehow. But he's like, bro, I can help you out. Like I work in the industry and I have a bunch of car friends. Thank you. And who are you, first of all? You know what I'm saying? It's like, second of all,
Yeah.
like I didn't even bring up to you the fact that I was seeking help. I don't know. They're just like this is where I think that, again, it all goes back to skateboarding for me. This is where
Right.
skating has helped me be able to, on a social level, weed out a lot of bullshit in my life.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure we've all heard the word poser. If you were a poser back in the day on a skateboard, we knew that was very obvious. It's like, oh, cool, you have like the most expensive DCs on your feet, but like they're not even scratched up, and then you're probably gonna throw these out in a month and then start smoking weed and like whatever, groping up Becky in eighth grade. Cool. There's a lot of that too in cars,
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah, this is corny,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I think it's just a lot of I'm just like such an empath. No, I think it's a lot of just kind of like poking people's brains and being like, what are you really about? Like let's
Right.
peel back some layers and like see what you're really about. And but that to me is exciting, because it's like that's how you can learn more to the story of like, well, why do you even have this car? Because it can't just be
Absolutely.
the fact that it was unique. It's like, for example, my girlfriend, I was like, yeah, your car is really cute. It also uniquely like suits you a ton. This is a Nissan Pal, Sarah. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm like, but
What is
more
your
to that
girlfriend?
story.
Is your girlfriend I'm that pal?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, dude, she's awesome. Like, shout out to
she
her.
is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, obviously you think she's awesome,
Shout
but
out to you, Shirley. I love you.
yo, yeah, what up,
Shirley!
Shirley? Yo, yeah, I follow her on IG. That power is dope as hell, dude. That light blue
Yeah,
is fucking gangster. I'm sorry, I got thrown off for 1 second. I didn't realize. Love the
Yeah,
connection.
so that's the other thing with like car stories is like everyone, some of the people beforehand are our friends, but like the other ones kind of like melt into like the group of people, and
Yeah,
yeah, all the sub niches. It's really
I
fun.
love that.
yeah, yeah. I don't know what I was gonna say about my girlfriend, for example. It's like beyond just the fact that you went through the hardships of getting that car. It's like, what is it about you that instead of just saying fuck it and getting like, I don't know, what's the easy car to acquire? Get an E36, right? You can find a
Right.
clean E36. The door panels are still on it for like 10,000. And I'm talking about that's like high because the panels are still on, right? No
Yep,
rust, no low miles.
that's true.
But like,
Unfortunately, it's
and
true.
yeah, and that's cool. You can like find that here. But she literally just saw this car on vacation and then got this idea implanted in her head. It's like, I'm gonna figure out, like, I'm gonna be tenacious and figure out how to import one of these. I like, where are they even made? Were there a lot of them? Like, what colors can I shop? Like, where can I buy one? How do I find a broker? How do I do the whole like import thing when I go to the dock? Like, how do I even enter the dock past security? I personally don't know how to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
But it's like, what about your personality makes you be tenacious enough to go do something like that?
facts.
You know? Um, and yeah, or another example, I'm trying to think.
Well, like I'll give you an example. You could have gone ahead and chosen to interview anybody else with a dope 964. Yet it was it's Sarah's 964 that was the
Yeah,
one that was chosen. And Sarah's video is the one that low key popped off the car stories, which probably let everything kind of get into motion and whatnot. And everybody's got anybody who's got a 964, their 964 is dope, right? But something about Sarah, something about her dope ass story, something about her amazing passion for cars is what made you say, because like as we alluded to earlier, Sarah was like, "Oh, I don't think he really wanted to interview me," but you were like, "No, I very much did." Like, like it's something
yeah,
about somebody's cool personality that's able to go ahead and translate well into a cool, amazing story, a unique story. You know what I mean?
right.
And you do that
Yeah,
extremely well.
thank you. That's what I always look for is like I want unique because at the end of the day, I'm not just making this video for like for the person I'm filming to consume. If I'm trying to make an entertaining video, I want other people to find this interesting too. So it's like if you think
Of
you're cool
course.
just because you have a cool car, but then what's gonna happen? I'm gonna put you in front of my camera and you're gonna be like, ooh, oh, my first time at the rodeo, like making stupid dad jokes and you're all like clearly anxious and your answers suck. I'm like, now my time is being wasted,
Right.
you
Yeah,
know?
you want somebody who can like talk to their car and be like, this is exactly why I got this car, and this is why it's special, and this is how I take care of it, other than like, hey, I go to Cars and Coffee with my GT3. Like it's like I got
Yeah,
an allocation, you're not like that
yeah,
guy.
yeah. Do you track it? Well, nah, but like it's got PPF all across it, and the paint is one of three in the country. Who
Who
cares?
cares? Yeah.
Who the fuck cares? Jesus Christ. I literally, again, this is why also I don't ever foresee, well, not ever, maybe in like 20 years, but for now, I don't foresee myself buying an EV because a used one is probably as much as like the 996 I have.
Right.
And like Sarah said, expensive battery replacement. I don't like buying brand new things. Like there's a few things that I have that are brand new, like I don't know, I guess my laptop. I bought my first brand new camera actually a couple months ago, and it was
Oh,
only
did you
because of the
really?
drive contract. Yeah. Otherwise, like
Nice.
everything I buy on marketplace, I just buy used because I don't know. A, I don't want to get asked out of a good deal, and B, I just think it's better when it's like it's almost you're kind of like doing recycling or like exchanging hands, getting the full use out of a thing.
Yeah.
And like with
Um,
cars too, like I think it's cool when it has like a story. The car already has a story, and then you're like, so Mark, who we did the car stories on, who has the sobs, he always says that he doesn't own a car, he's the caretaker of a car. And I think that's like such a nice way of putting it. And I think that, I mean, I think that like saving the car is super important. And I have gotten a new car, but
Yeah.
that's only because I need something that works all the time. But
Sure.
I
No,
would prefer not to.
no, I get that, but like, you
fair.
know what? It also gives you the opportunity, Sarah, to not baby your 7 series and your 964, but give them the love and it makes the drives a little bit more special. And I know people say, I've heard people go ahead and say it's like, well, why would you go ahead and make anything less special by driving it less? And I think that we kind of alluded to this earlier, quality over quantity. in particular with your 964, but even so with your 7 series. Like 7 series is just, that's a cool sensation. It's that gangster feeling. It's like you don't want to go ahead and feel like a gangster every single time you go out, but when you do, it's like, oh, like this is why I bought this car. You know, you don't want to be jaded by your own stuff in a way, right?
100%. And like, there's something about like, I appreciate the cars a lot more when I'm not driving them all the time. Like, because they are old.
Yeah.
Like, there's even the 7 series is old. It's
What year is the 7 series?
2001.
Okay, yeah, this it's old. Shout
Yeah.
out to, was it Tomorrow Never Dies or was it Goldeneye that the 7 series was in with Pierce Brosnan?
Tomorrow Never Dies.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
he's got the BMW Z8 in Goldeneye. Is that what it is? There's a B, or is it also
So,
Tomorrow Never Dies? Because obviously he's known for having the Astons, but like
Go.
Pierce Brosnan's
Yeah.
movies had the BMWs. Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. Actually went to the Peterson and they had like all of the James Bond cars, which was like super neat. And obviously I was like fangirling over the E38 and everyone's like, what the hell's wrong with this girl? Like,
That's the one up near Boston, right?
no, that's in California.
That's the one in LA. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Never
The
mind.
Peterson Automotive Museum is
Yeah.
super sick. I highly suggest. Highly suggest.
Yeah. I went there and I went to Luft last year.
Oh,
right.
yeah. I think Aaron Water is taking place this upcoming weekend, if I'm not mistaken. Just outside of Los Angeles. I got a few of my friends going out there.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah. Obviously this podcast will go ahead and have release well afterwards and whatnot, but I'm hoping everybody is having a fantastic time. My buddy Alex, he's got a 1977 911 SC Targa, and it is just
Sick.
freaking chef's kiss. He does drive that car everywhere, as he should. It's a full restoration, but now that it's restored, he loves to drive it, and he should. And it's like, if you redo your car, then drive it, because you just went ahead and made it brand new. You just gave it you just literally resurrected its soul. Like, do your drive it, enjoy it. That's what it's for.
There is a problem with that. Like, even you watch my second to last episode, Michael with the E36, the BRG one.
That's the color I'm painting my car.
Oh, really?
I thought yours was Irish green. Well,
no,
never mind. That's sick though, regardless.
British Racing Green.
British Racing Green is one of the most underrated car colors on the planet. Yes, massive W. Yeah.
But even that car, like, he did a full not engine out respray, like glass out respray and everything. He did it himself. I would imagine that's like a $5,000-$6,000 paint job.
Right.
And even that thing, he didn't necessarily want to beat on too hard when he first finished it, because he was like, I just spent so much time and money on it. You know what I mean? So I could see, unfortunately, from the monetary perspective of your friend not wanting to drive the shit out of that car, because unfortunately, to rebuild something like that and restore a car like that to like that primo level,
right?
What is it, like over 50 grand
at the least?
Yeah. So it's like, but that's the problem. It's like, fuck yeah, now you have this, like, it's second life and you want to beat the shit out of it, but then you're like, but the carburetors, it took me 2 months to get, and like I don't want something like a cable to snap. You know what I mean? It's like little things like that.
Sure.
Those depot headlights were like 3 months out, and I don't want to crack one on the canyons.
Yeah.
But I get it. But at the same time, yeah, I'm also just like, I also used to tell myself, like, yeah. Oh, I told myself the 996, full disclosure, most expensive item I've ever bought in my life to this day. And even that thing, I was like, I'm not going to modify it. Before I even got it, I had springs on order, and I think struts as well.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, that's it though. But it's like, because it's like, it's a Porsche, so it should handle great. It should handle like a Porsche. It'll just be sporty. I'm not going to do anything else.
Yeah. Okay.
Tell me why this past week I was already looking up like how to do K24 turbo swap when your M96 blows up.
What did we talk about? Stay out of the engine.
I have. Hey, full disclosure, I have. Well, I did an X plate,
Well, okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
but other than that, it's just basic maintenance. So
Yeah.
knock
Okay.
on wood, that's how it remains. So far, the people that have worked on the car, they're like, clean car, like well done. Like oil pressure's good, it's all dry. So
Nice.
yeah.
So
But the
hold
fact of the
on.
matter is, like, I also sorry to cut
No,
you
no,
off. So
please go
last
ahead.
thing,
Go ahead.
also, I hate when people are like Mark, for example, Sarah. One time, Mark was like, ah, you got to baby this car. Don't drive it like you stole it. I'm like, Mark, what do you mean? It's a Porsche 911. Why else would I buy it? I want to drive it like I stole it. One of the
Yeah.
first things I did with it was donuts. If you
Yeah.
watch my fried egg video, I did a
No,
couple
that was
donuts
the
to see if it's
that
the right
that
way.
was like low key your best video. I think I watched that like 100 times.
That's
Thank you.
awesome.
And it was so much fun to make and edit, and it only took like a total of 16 hours to shoot and edit. It was a good time. I did need a new clutch after, but whatever. A new clutch is in now,
Whatever.
so
New
Whatever.
clutch.
we're
It's,
track ready.
yeah,
It's a wear item.
it's a wear item. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No big deal.
No, not, I mean, it kind of it is, but I mean, it is what it is. Like,
Yo, it's really not. Secrets out. It's really not.
yeah. Well, I hold on because I need to backtrack on something here for 1 second though, or take it back for 1 second. Did you just say that you were thinking about putting a K24 and a 996 in case your engine blew? Like, forgive me for my idiocy for 1 second, but a K24, that's a Honda engine, is it not? It's a
Mhm.
Civic engine in particular. No, which
Uh,
is the K24? Oh,
TSX or no Accord? Accord.
Accord. Okay. Oh, that's right. The B series are the Civic engines. Apologies. Yo, that is a wild thing to put a K24 and a 996. I mean, people get mad when people drop LS1s and LS2s and LS3s into 996s. And Tom is probably the only man on earth to think, oh, I'm going to drop a Honda Accord engine into a 996.
No, no. Look up in your free time later. Look up Bayside Fabrication in Florida. Ben Simpson, he's the
Okay.
guy that runs it. I think he is just like a little company out of his garage, but he makes a whole mounting bracket and a turbo manifold and a couple other things. He basically has priced out a kit for you that's like 15 grand in total. 13 if you don't build the bottom end of the K24,
Yeah.
and that could easily put you at like 400 horsepower.
Wow.
And it'll be Honda reliable.
I mean, this is
Hmm.
yeah,
Tempting.
a little more tempting than it should be, honestly.
Listen, I get it. I get it. It's not like a flat six anymore, this and that, blah blah blah. But here's the reality: it's 25,000 to rebuild a M96, and oftentimes it takes upwards of a year,
Yeah.
give or take, for all the parts to come in, all the machining and decking to get done, all the assembly. Like, trust me, I got my car tuned actually because of the X pipe. So, like, obviously, you get rid of the cats, no more scavenging. You have to add a little, excuse me, a little fuel on tip in. And this guy where I went to, Apex Auto Works in Jersey, really smart guy, the guy John, one of the co-owners. Um, he was telling me that like some of the scary things that we hear about M96s, they are true, unfortunately. And B, it takes upwards of a year to get that thing done. And then
Right.
if you want to maybe get it a little faster, I imagine LN Engineering can make you the Nicky's engine, because I bet you they have some of those parts already in stock. That's like 40 grand. That's more than
Damn.
my car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's crazy. Do you
So
guys are you guys familiar with Jethro Bovingdon by any chance? He's one of like the big UK journalists.
no.
So
Sounds familiar.
he used to be like one of the guys that was part of Evo when Harry Metcalf had it. So it was like Chris Harris, Jethro Bovingdon. It was Henry Catchpole. So those guys, right? And so he has a 996 actually. And so I think his M96 blew. And so what he decided to go ahead and do is I think he's doing a 991.2 Carrera engine into his 996. So it's
Wow.
with what comes the 3 liter twin turbo is what
Yeah.
he's doing. And my understanding is it's a lot of money. Like it's a lot.
Yo,
As
think
a
about just the wiring, the CAN bus communications, trying to make all that work and not have a check engine light.
yeah,
Yay. I mean, I guess
yikes.
ultimately you would probably want like a 991.2 that's crashed and then take all those guts
Which is
and
exactly what he
retrofit
found.
them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But still, like, and I think he's been at it for over a year now. And I mean, it's going to be super sick. Like, uh, you might as it'll probably be faster than a regular 996 turbo. Like, it's going to friggin' fly. But like, that's
Yeah,
so
most likely.
much, that's so much money and investing and like work. But, at times, like, it becomes worth it. Like, Sarah, you're in the midst of, how much time do you think you have left on the 964 with everything that you're doing to it?
Um,
That was
well,
a very long pause. She's like, it's a
well,
long time.
well, there's like it's being painted right now. Well, the
Right.
paint is being removed, last I heard. The red is
Uh-huh.
going away and it's being painted green.
Yours was guards red,
Um,
correct?
yes.
Okay, cool.
And it was super cool because it like had all the patina and whatever. But I was like, you know what? She's coming back to life as a car that's green. So I'll stop losing money. Um, hopefully. And then the engine has to go in. The trans swap has already been completed. So then, trans engine. And then I figured I'm already doing a 3.8. I might as well make it like a full RS tribute. So I'm doing the interior too. So I don't know when it's going to be done, but because I keep adding things to it. So hopefully in a couple months. But
Okay. That's actually a shorter time frame than what I expected you to say.
well, the engine's pretty much done. They started working on it oh God, October, no, September,
Okay.
October.
I think, yeah,
So,
maybe November, judging by the photo that I
oh
just
yeah,
shared of your 964,
yes,
actually.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's when the engine came out.
that's no, that's that, but that you are doing this is a dream for you. Like, this is your dream, and whatnot. Like,
I
it's
love that
hard.
car so much, and
Yeah.
like
Was that your
it's
poster car?
yeah, that was
Okay.
that was it. And I said I was going to get that car for myself when I hit like a certain milestone at work, and I did. And then it kind of just it fell into my lap, and I put my trust and was like, "Some fix this, give it to me when it's done and ready." And like COVID was like actually the best thing that could have happened for that car because it got like
Right.
so much attention. And then I got the car and drove it so much, but uh, I'm really torn about not having a jalopy air cooled in the city. Like I thought that was like so fun and so cool that I didn't really need to like care that much about like hitting the potholes or like rock chips or whatever. It was, and I just drove it, and like that
Yeah.
made me happy. And now I'm gonna have like a porcelain doll, and I'm certainly grateful for that, but it's not going to be the same, and I'm nervous, I guess.
Well, I mean, I can understand your nerves, as Tom stated earlier. It's a really hard thing to say. Oh, I'll just drive it like a normal car, but like, it's a very special thing to you and whatnot. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay to not have to go ahead and drive it every day, but I would hope that it doesn't mess with you so much that you're like, oh, you know what? I just have to sell it because there's no way that I can go ahead and treat it the same
Oh,
way. You know what I mean?
I'm never selling this thing. I will not let this car defeat me. Like it has
Yeah.
been 5 years, 6 years of like getting this thing going, and like it's staying.
You're right.
Unless this rebuilding the motor does not work, I'm driving it directly into the Hudson River, and like that's it. Just But I mean, 964s are so special too. There's not that many of them left.
Right.
So it's not like I could just get into another one, The struggle with this car has also become like part of the story with this car, and like I'm not ready to pass that on to anybody else. Like that's mine. That's
Like
my
you
burden.
have this brand new struggle to kind of have to go through and whatnot. I
Yeah,
got you.
exactly.
I got you.
Exactly.
I love
So,
that.
so
Yeah.
yeah.
Tom, was the 996 when you bought it, like that was because of you hitting your own milestone and whatnot. You mentioned earlier, the Fast and the Furious was kind of like what kind of opened up your eyes to cars. What was the car that you had up on your wall when you were a kid? Next to, all the skaters, of course.
So when we first immigrated to America, I shared a bedroom with my parents, and so my little corner had a Lamborghini Diablo. I think it was the light, like the lavender one,
Okay.
whatever that paint code is. And I want to
Is that the
say a Ferrari.
SE30?
I don't remember honestly.
I think
I
I
just
know what
remember it
you're
was a
talking
Diablo. I think I had a blue Dodge Viper GTS. Those always
about.
just
Nice.
look so crazy. And then Ferrari. I think it was an F40 or F50. I want to say F50.
Okay.
Yeah. So like honestly, the like my poster cars are not the cars I'm by any means interested in anymore. Like I think Ferrari, some of their cars, their newer cars are cool and all, but like I would never want one. I would never want to be associated with the Ferrari brand because I think it's kind of whack the way that they do like just the snobbery around like, oh, this is like a private club. It's like you're not Skull and Bones, and even Skull and Bones is sporty now. So like, just stop with that. Um, Lamborghini, they're just expensive Audis. Although
Wouldn't
Audi,
that
like
be
I'm thinking,
super Porsche?
Audi is not putting flat sixes into any of their cars.
Fair, fair.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
yeah, ultimately, yeah. Like if you want to take it back to let's say, like the Cayenne and the Touareg and the what was it, the Q7?
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like yeah, those are cool cars. But in terms of like these like special unique cars, yeah, I don't know. Like Porsche kind of still stands out,
Sure.
and I don't know. I think there's just like the fact that you could still get like there's no 996 equivalent of like any of the aforementioned cars I just mentioned. You're not getting a cheap Lambo or a cheap
Yeah.
Ferrari or
Right.
maybe like a budget-ish McLaren, but even budget McLaren is what like still upwards of 100
Well, not
or
only
like even an
that, just
R8.
yeah. But I mean, I don't even know if you want to go ahead and mess around with a budget McLaren. Like that's going to go ahead and spell the end of you financially. You know what I mean?
Correct.
A
Yeah,
Where a
lot of
yeah, yeah.
996,
electronics.
exactly. The 996 isn't going to doom you financially. It's going to go ahead and probably bring you a bright spot, um, because
Yeah.
the driving characteristics are so good. And the only reason why people don't like them is because they have weird headlights compared to some of the others. Like, bruh, you know what? I might have ugly headlights, but I still have a Porsche. You know what I mean? Like,
But I
don't.
still got the original IMS bearing. What?
I don't know. I think that's
No,
what's
I
so cool about the Porsche brand, though,
Yep.
is like it encompasses like every demographic of person, and like
You
you can have like a regular 996 or you can have a 996 C4S, and like you're you're even in a way. You know what
I've
I
had
mean?
this.
It
Yep.
doesn't like
Yep.
it's I don't know. It's just something like so cool about it, and like everybody just you kind of create your own little bubble of people.
I've had this
yeah.
conversation with people in the past. Porsche's the only car brand out there where you can go ahead and have a $15,000 Boxster and then a $2 million 918, and you guys are giving each other daps saying, "Oh, we're in the Porsche club." Like that
Yeah.
doesn't happen with any other car brand on earth. And it is way sick. It is unbelievable that the demographic and the economical status can be that far apart, and you guys can still come together because you are able to drive around in this iconic brand and still get the same similar fizz from each of these two different ends of the spectrum. It's an incredible thing.
Tom and
Yeah.
I are in a WhatsApp group with with only Porsche people. It has like 750 members in it,
Holy
and it's
hell.
just
That,
there's a lot of people in it, but just like everybody's like super excited to talk to each other about
Yeah.
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
Porsches.
Gosh, that group
I,
chat
I
must
I
be
only do the
crazy.
gun to head, by the way. I only do gun to head because it is
It's
crazy.
a
Because
it's a lot
everyone
of
is like
messages.
all hours of the day. I'm like, yo,
Mute
I had
it.
to silence it with like
Yeah.
Yeah.
within 2 days of being part of it.
Yeah. I had to mute it too. But like when you go back
Yeah.
in, there's like some interesting stuff and like everybody's really nice to each other,
Yeah.
Oh,
except about
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
944s. Just kidding.
Great. Hey,
But
keep the price low.
no,
Yeah.
Fun.
listen, I get it. But yeah, it's fun time. And there's like I've met so many people through just like the love of Porsche and ugh, I can't, you don't see that with any other car brand.
I agree.
Right. Like I think people, especially, I want to say particularly with like the rear and the mid-engine cars. I don't know. I think once people drive them, they're like, "Oh, it's a driver's car. That's why people are so obsessed with these cars. Not for all like the crazy PTS colors and
Yeah.
whatever." It's like, no, like you're one with the machine. You know what I mean? Especially obviously with the older ones. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, this is like this is your jetpack.
Hmm.
You know what I
It's
mean?
like
You
it's
you
a
put it
very
on, you go.
visceral driving experience too. And like it's so analog and remove all the nannies and all the creature like that's why it's nice to like move up to like, a 996 or something like that because do you have Bluetooth in your car? I can't remember.
I do, but it's not working at the moment.
Okay, you have Bluetooth. You
Welcome to
have
the
air
club, brother.
conditioning.
My entire radio took a shit in my
He's
2017 Sorento, and it's still heartbreak. Carry on,
Oh
Sarah.
no.
It's fine.
No, but like all you need are the small creature comforts. Like you
Yeah,
don't need that much in order to like have an enjoyable driving experience.
very
Mhm.
much so.
And I think that Porsche's done a really good job about like keeping simplicity up until like recently with like the trucks and the 992, but
Yeah,
it's been fairly continuous.
for sure. Let me tell you something. One of my very favorite pieces of automotive content that I've ever seen in my entire life, this goes from either YouTube or even TV stuff, had to do with a car that not a lot of people talk about. And we've brought up the 944 a lot tonight. Obviously, the other front engined coupe from Porsche is the 928, which probably gets even less love than the 944. Um, and I remember this, it's not even a full video. It's just like a minute and a half clip. And I'm a big Top Gear fan. Love Jeremy Clarkson, James May, Richard Hammond. And one of the last episodes that they did of that last season of them hosting was their Patagonia trip to Argentina, right? And so Jeremy Clarkson has a Porsche 928 that he is using for that. And he talks about he had a Porsche 928 on loan and his dad was in the hospital. And so his mom calls and he's talking about he takes the chicken out of the oven and then he gets in the car and drives down to the hospital. Apparently the hospital was like an hour away and he got there in like half an hour. And so he was able to go and bring his mom food and see his dad for 30 minutes before he passed away. And then his dad passed away just shortly after that and whatnot. And he talks about the 928 was perfect for what he had to do because it it could do 150 miles an hour with no issues, no complaints, just sailing, and it was super comfortable. And it got him to see his dad for the final like few minutes of his life. And it's not just the car, it's also the beautiful storytelling. I only bring that up because Tom, I think that you're becoming a master of your art with your storytelling, and I wish and it's so cool. And you know what, Sarah, like let me tell you something right now. You were pretty dope in front of the camera as well, and I truly
Thank
mean
you.
that. And I think that I hope to see you doing more videos where you get featured, and
Thank
once your
you.
964 is done, I hope Tom does a part two with you and the 964.
Ooh.
I already have an idea for it.
Okay, I am so happy that I'm actually smart and giving
Ooh.
ideas here. I think
Part
because
two.
yes, I think it's brilliant, but like I think that what you're doing now, Tom, is you're doing what Petrolicious used to do, and you are carrying on that torch and putting your own spin on that. When I say that to you, do you like is that okay to say? Like, I hope you take that as a compliment, because I think we
Oh
all
yeah.
watched Petrolicious for like the last 6 or 7 years before they went ahead and, you know, imploded, and now they got recently sold to DuPont Registry. I hope it's able to revive as a brand, right? But like, you kind of took that torch, bro. Like, that's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, that definitely means a lot because I definitely used to watch those videos a ton. I think that was also kind of always in the back of my mind. It's like,
Yeah, like a mini inspiration.
you know, yeah, it's like just beautiful storytelling of cool
Yeah,
cars and their people.
right.
It's like it's more artistic than it is just showing off
Cars,
a cool car because
right.
a cool car can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people.
Facts.
But I think ultimately when it's broken down to like the episodes I've made and those stories and those people, those cars, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay, yeah, this makes like understand, you know?
I think there
And yeah,
was
just
one
like
com sorry, go ahead.
no, no, go ahead, go ahead.
There was a comment on one of the videos that you recently put out. I can't remember whose one it was, but somebody said, I can see myself in these videos. And I thought that was like really nice because like people are relating to it in a
Yeah.
totally different way than you expect. Just being
Yeah.
like, oh, I have the same car or something. It's like, no, you see the passion, you see the drive, and and people are
Pun
relating to that.
intended, by the way. You can
Yeah,
see the drive.
Plug.
yeah.
Plug.
Yeah, while I'm here, I'm gonna plug Sunday Motor Code. This is a pin from them. It's a
Oh,
limited
I
edition.
love
It's no
that
longer for
car.
sale.
So dope.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Love
have
that.
that car one day. I tell
By the
Nick
way,
all the time it's mine.
No,
you
I
brought
think
up. Oh, go ahead, Tom. I'll let you finish. I apologize. Go ahead.
yeah, I think it's just important to keep quality over quantity, and especially in a world where like particularly in the car media world, a lot of what you see is just, there's obviously some like funny reels and memes or whatever, but then there's also just a lot of like the crazy like warp transition and and like the speed ramp transit. And I'm like, if I'm not epileptic yet, I probably will be if I watch like five more of these.
I got you.
So
Yeah. Well, you're right. I mean, I think it works for some things, but if you want a story to be told, if you want to be immersed into something, which is so important in a world of heavy consumption that we live in these days, there's so many different things that you could be watching and things of that nature. But what is it really telling you? What are you really learning? Are you like, and especially if you are a person who enjoys studying another human being, like what you're kind of doing is a really interesting psychology experiment when you really think about it, which is
thank you.
awesome.
Yes, yeah, exactly. That again, thank you again for seeing me for or seeing it for what it is, the show. Like again, I want to peel back the layers of the onion. I don't care what's on surface level because surface level is very shallow
Yeah.
and it's I guess predictable. Whereas like when you really peel back layers, you can really get depth out of person. It's like imagine, I don't know, having like a conversation like this for like 2 hours with someone and you really get to learn them and you get to
Right.
pick their brain. And it's like, oh shit, like I would not have expected this or that turn out of you. And but like here you are. And then in terms of charisma, car stories, it's like, oh, that's why you drive the car. Like, oh, you rebuilt that like half that engine. That's crazy. It's like
Yeah.
here, what do you do? You seem way too clean cut to do. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's always unique.
No, for sure. And I mean, in the same way, like Sarah driving a 964 makes sense. Knowing that Sarah rolls around in a 7 Series, what the hell? That's cool. Could not have seen that until you go ahead and see that. And then you get a chance to understand her. And then you with a 944 and the 996. Or again, shout out to Shirley, a POW, for God's sake, of all cars. Like but you know what? Car culture is this beautiful expression of we are probably a lot of us are very eccentric, and especially when you go ahead and get really weird with our car selections, like that's when it gets really freaking cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
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 I think it's just like I like the punk nature of it. Like
Yeah.
prime example, I think my girl looks beautiful wearing like kind of boyish clothes, like baggy jeans or like like a big hoodie, which I'm only using it as an example because let's say 15, 20 years ago, it's like, oh, why are you wearing like the guy shit? Well, it's
Right.
like, why not? You know what I mean? So in terms of this, it's like Shirley also has a 9442. Hers is a Safari. And it's like, why the hell do you have that, especially in this city? And it's like, well, actually, if you think, first of all, cool as hell. But second of all, you don't have to worry about potholes in that car. It's got big
Yeah.
knobby tires on it. You know what I mean? There's like little things
Absolutely.
like that. It's like, yo, you're gonna die one day. Like, why not just have fun? Like, experience different cars, different experiences, different places, people, etc. You know?
Yeah,
100%.
for sure.
Yeah.
I've got a couple more questions that I want to ask, and I know that it's getting a little bit later to out there, so I want to be respectful of your time. But first of all, thank you both so much for being absolutely incredible and taking me on this journey with you. So, Sarah, I want to ask you really quickly, what is Broken Car
Yes.
Clubs?
Okay. So Broken Car Club is this thing that I'm in the process of making. It's going to be like apparel and I don't know, we'll call it a lifestyle because it is a lifestyle.
Yeah.
But it basically targets every single demographic of car
It's a
person.
lifestyle.
It targets every demographic of car person. Like we're all going to have a broken car at one point. And
Yeah.
like people get mad at the beginning where I'm like handing out stickers or whatever, and they're like, I don't want your broken car shit. And then their car breaks down or like something happens and they're waiting for a part and their car doesn't, they can't bring it to whatever thing we're doing. And they're like, oh yeah, broken car club. So you'll be there eventually. We're waiting.
Yeah. I it's true. I want to get there at some point. Right now, I'm in the phase of, I'm a family man, right? And so like I have not a broken car, I have the boring car. I'm in the boring car club right now.
Mm.
Definitely, but again, I always tell people like, hey, it doesn't matter. I'm enjoying. Hence the reason. This is part of the reason why I did the podcast is because I wanted to go ahead and get to learn more about people, learn their love for car culture, and kind of in a weird way live vicariously through their fun car making decisions and why they've chosen to go whatever route that they've chosen and whatnot. And so yes, we're all going to have a broken car at some point in time. And I'm
It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be crashed or on
sure,
fire or whatever. Like,
but it makes for a better story,
100%,
right?
always.
For sure.
Built
Tom,
not bought, baby.
yeah, there you go. You are accomplishing this amazing dream with the drive, and you know, uh, just based on the comments alone from like 3 or 4 videos that I've seen, it's been really refreshing. Everybody was super hyped to go ahead and see this comeback that the drive is doing and whatnot, and you are so heavily ingrained as part of it. What do you see next for yourself as you continue on this journey, and then what, like, not that you speak for the drive, but what can you see coming from the drive that we can enjoy as they continue to kind of kind of push back out their cool content that they left dormant for such a long time?
Shit. What do I see for myself next?
Lemons. Tom, you should do lemon.
What lemons?
24
Like
hours
lemon
of
cars?
lemons? Yeah,
Yeah, that would be kind of dope.
24 hours of lemons. Yo, that would
Yeah.
be sick.
that would be so sick.
What do I see for myself next? Honestly, I'd like to. What starting this whole series has taught me a lot, like on a personal level, is how to talk better with people, like how to be a better communicator, a better planner, a better manager of like time, being more compassionate with people, patient with people. So I'd like to see how that translates into, I guess, like future endeavors and future. Like I have another series of mine that I talked to Kyle about, and I'm probably going to shoot one of the first episodes soon.
Nice.
I don't want to announce anything yet, but like, there will be more content as their channel gets bigger and bigger. And I definitely like to hire a couple of my friends to kind of be there with me and be able to like shoot and edit so we can all eat off of it. And also beyond just like the money aspect, and like it'll obviously help me grow because then I can like claim, I guess, I don't know, I'm the producer of like XYZ shows. It can also, I don't always want to be the only person that's in charge of all the shooting and editing. It's really nice and refreshing when I have someone else help me with either or. You know what I mean? Like even for example, when I was out in Arizona a month ago, my friend Jordan was out there with me because we were fresh off a gig in Phoenix, and he shot so much for me. And I was like, damn, I was watching the footage afterwards because obviously in the moment I'm like, shit, like I have to make sure this is working and that's working and like the mics are hot, whatever. And I was like, damn, this is so much better to have like an additional person because also some of the angles that he got, it's like things that I would want to get, but like I'm too busy in the moment getting whatever footage I'm getting.
Right.
It's like while I'm capturing close-ups of the wheels, he might be doing the same thing, but from further away with a different lens and like different settings on his camera that makes it look even better, but also from like a different perspective. So I guess again, tangential and long-winded. I guess that's where what's excuse me, what I see for my future is kind of growing as a person and as a creative, not just a creator, and like
Oh,
growing a
that's
team.
a good differentiator, by the way.
Yeah, creative and creator are two different things. Yeah.
Right.
The creator of me is like when I'm going to car shows making vlogs. The creative I would say is like thinking more about what I'm making.
Yeah.
That's me like, chopping up an interview for a week and a half straight because I'm like, this doesn't sound quite right. Like I need to move this and here, and like it's like a big puzzle that I'm doing blindfolded.
Yeah.
But then when it clicks, it clicks.
I hear you,
And then
man.
what was the other half of that question of what do I see for
Um,
my future? As
sure. And just, now that the drive is rebranded, and not that you can speak for them, right? But like now being a part of that team, like, what can you see, like, or what do you want to go ahead and see from them as you are a part of it and as they kind of like rebrand? I know it's tough to go ahead and answer,
yeah,
obviously, because you don't want to go ahead and be like, "Oh, I want them to do this," but like, it's an enormous task that they are doing,
yeah.
but they're doing it. But I think that they're going about it absolutely the right way, and I love to see it.
Honestly, I don't really want to speak for the drive, so I'm not going to
Respect.
answer that part. Yeah.
I apologize.
No, no, it's fine.
I'll,
It's fine.
yeah,
That's why I was thinking of like because I've
yeah.
had some of these conversations with Kyle. I'm like, what can we do to like make it stand out more? But again, that's like more in the back end, and Kyle's the one that's in charge.
And
So
not to
I'd rather
mention
like step
also
off this.
like, yeah, and it's also us as the viewers and us as the people who love to see it. Like, you don't want to go ahead and give out your game plan yet because they know what's coming, and it's like, oh, don't you worry, we got you. So I don't know, that may have been accidental journalism of me trying to dig for something, and now I kind of feel stupid for even going there because I should have known that wasn't going to get answered. So that was on me. But even still,
Oh,
like,
good.
I'm more so excited at the fact that we're kind of seeing that from them after such a long time, and
Yeah.
it's just cool, man.
I
And I'm very
I
happy.
think one thing I will say just to like comment on the decision for the drive to take a person like myself on and
Yeah,
be their like be one of their creatives and like feed them programming. I think that's cool that they're open to, broadening. Like again, back to what I said, I don't want to be the only one that's in charge of my videos.
right.
They're like, okay, well, why would we like maybe yeah, we have like these people in our Rolodex that have shot videos for us or for our friends at like whatever, this magazine, that website, and that's cool, but it's like who are some more of these like underdogs, and we want to hear
Yeah.
like some more underdog stories, and like there's some meat here, there's something bubbling here. So yeah, and like definitely one thing that I spoke to Kyle about that I was biased about was like I think there's a really cool opportunity for like New York to be seen through like a different light,
Hell
and like
yes.
get more exposure on the scene. Because just like you said, the West Coast is very much known for it being like the mecca of like the car culture in America. But it's like, man, there's some pockets of America that are bubbling.
For sure. And New
I
York is right at
definitely,
the forefront.
yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, shit, it's like the most poppin' city in America, if not definitely one of the most poppin' cities in the world. But it's like it's this one scene that honestly, a lot of times all that people see is like the Vice documentary, and then ABC 7 News being like another takeover happened in the Bronx at 2:30 a.m. and
Yeah.
someone died. It's like shit. That's not all it is.
Right.
It's really not all it is.
And if you want to see what
Yeah,
it is, go watch Tom's stuff.
go watch Charisma.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. And follow what Sarah's up to, because like Sarah, like I see you and doing your thing. I was it. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up really quickly. What was Hootie's big
Oh
event that he
dear.
did last September? The 24
Oh,
hours du Montauk.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We do
With
that every year. So I've been on all three of them,
amazing stuff,
surprisingly.
by the way.
Yeah. Um, it's so much fun. It's like a really great group of people who usually go, but it's curated by Hootie and the rally team.
Yeah.
But it's the day before the bridge, which is this car show that's in the Hamptons on a golf course,
Yeah.
which it's just like insane cars, and
It's
I
the freaking
usually
Hamptons of all places, by the way.
yeah. It's
it's
a Concours
insane.
event.
Yeah.
Yeah. So somehow I am usually like the person who checks in all of the people for the bridge, so I get to like see a sneak peek of of all the cars that are coming and say hello to everyone. But
Yeah.
it's a really fun time, and you know, that's one of those moments where we talked about earlier where I was just like, how did I get here? You know?
Yeah. I'm telling you, you two, like, I feel like you guys are kind of an entryway to New York City car culture. And I'm not just saying that to blow smoke up your ass, but I'm genuinely serious. Like, you guys are these like cool, dope ass gatekeepers that are, kind
I'm
of,
not a gatekeeper.
no, not in
I'm not a
not in a
No,
bad
gatekeeper.
way. Not in the bad way of like gatekeeping, but more what's the word that I'm looking for? What's more of the like the people who are opening the doors to go ahead and see, hey, this is
oh,
what we
yeah.
offer. That's what I meant to say it as when I say gatekeeper, as in,
Yeah, fair.
I don't want to go ahead and call you a doorman because that sounds terrible. Doorman. Shout out to 40-year-old. No, what is it? Knocked up. Let's go, Leslie Mann.
Oh my
But
gosh.
like you guys are really you guys are kind of like almost the faces of what's going on in that not little, very big pocket of a car culture scene and whatnot. But like, yeah, you guys are really doing the damn thing, dude.
Thank
Oh,
you.
we are
I mean,
trying.
yeah, we're definitely trying. I wouldn't honestly, I appreciate the compliment. I wouldn't say I'm one of the faces. Like, I think there's plenty more people out there that are way more popping than me, like in the car scene out here. Also, I'm pretty private when it comes to things like social media. Like, you look at my Instagram, like, I've had conversations with my girl before. She's like, why don't you ever post me? I'm like, business is public. Our personal life, like, we can have the shared photo album and like share cutesy things with each other and like DM each other, but like I like to keep my life pretty private. And and also like I guess I don't know, it's not just that my work speaks for me, but like I don't know that necessarily a lot of people know that it's even me shooting all these videos or like making these episodes.
Right.
It's almost one of those things where like I'll meet people through like Sarah or our friend Wilson Tang. Um, I don't know who else, but yeah, I don't know. Like I'm pretty low key, so I wouldn't say one of the faces because I feel like the faces of New York and the car scene are usually pretty. they're more public facing.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And they make it very known as to who they are and what they're about. I'm just not like that. I don't have anything against it. I just wouldn't say that like I hold that stature.
sure. I respect it.
But
Um,
yeah.
I guess not a face per se. Let's go ahead and just use the fact that you are someone who's representing the New York car scene in a really beautiful way from behind the lens. And I think that's just as important as what,
I agree with
Sarah,
that.
and then with what Sarah's doing, like I don't know, Sarah. I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit, and I actually can appreciate the humility, which is actually super cool. And I
I,
think that you guys
I
as a
don't even
whole,
know what I do. I just take pictures.
but
Sarah's got her
obviously
hands in everything.
she
Honestly,
does.
I really
From what
That's
do.
for sure.
it's really cool to see. Like and I'm really honored that you guys went ahead and chose to hang out with me on a Monday night tonight when you guys get to go ahead and be doing anything else. And I'm incredibly grateful. You could be you could be just
Street
chilling at
racing.
your yeah, you could be street racing, right? And getting interviewed
Just
by
kidding.
Vice.
Yeah.
And but
All 150 horsepower, my new to me 40-year-old 944.
exactly. No,
Yeah.
but it's been such a pleasure, guys. It really
Well,
has
thank you
been.
for having us.
No, it's for sure.
Yeah.
And you guys are truly making a difference. And I really mean that. I'm not I've everything that I've said to you guys tonight is God honest and whatnot. And I'm seeing what you guys are doing and I'm just like, Jesus, like let's fucking go. Like that's and it's cool. And please keep it up. And I'm going to be continuing to root for you guys 2,900 miles away.
Well,
Because
when you come here, we'll have plenty of car things to do for when you
yes,
when no.
I'm in. I'm
Yeah.
100% in. I want to see this 944. I want to see the 996. I want to see the 964. I want to see the 7 series. Hell, I want to see that POW. Like I'm all in, dude. I'm so all in. And I'm so happy to see that New York car culture is alive and well and that you guys are really pushing it out towards for all of us to be able to go ahead and see. And even the Northeast coast. I hope that I'm sure that it's continued to expand with how you view it and whatnot, Tom. And just thanks for you guys' time. I really do appreciate it. We'll do some social media plugs real quick before we go ahead and wrap it on up. Tom, where can people go ahead and find you, and then where can they now go ahead and find the new video series and all that good stuff?
Ladies first.
Okay, Sarah, hit us.
I'm a gentleman.
I'm at Swaggles with 3 G's.
Okay, first of all, that is one of the funniest and coolest social media handles I've ever heard in my entire life. I'm assuming it's swag and giggles.
No, but actually
No?
that makes a lot of sense. No,
Okay.
it was just like
I'm an
my
ass for
initial.
assuming.
Oh.
Is that what you thought it was too?
What, me? No, no. I always thought it
Yeah,
was like Swaggles like uh swag, but like extra rendition on that. I don't know.
it is kind of, but like it's
Yeah.
like a weird story of how it came about. But I am Swaggles with 3 G's.
Love it. All right. And Tom, where can they find you, my friend?
Find me on Instagram, at Tom Gorelik, TomGorelik. I post all it's literally just like trailers for all the episodes that I have live on YouTube. And then speaking of YouTube, if you want to follow my personal page, it is I think also at Tom Gorelik, just my name
Yeah,
on YouTube. And then the show Charisma, that's all the newer episodes of my series that's now owned and operated by The Drive, is on at The Drive's channel. And yeah, that's also on YouTube.
for sure. Shout out to the Drive for making a comeback and hoping that they stick around for a long period of time because I think the culture needs it. And so, and
Yeah.
shout out to them for bringing you on board and having a new fresh perspective. And shout out to you for just killing the game, and shout out to Sarah for being just dope ass human being that's also killing the game. And it's been a true pleasure. And I hope that we can get a chance to go ahead and do another podcast relatively soon because I think I've had a great time, and I hope you guys have done the same, and you guys have imparted so much wisdom
Yeah.
on me. And let's continue to do cool psychology experiments. How about that, Tom?
Yes. Yeah, that's the motive, is digging deep, peeling back the layers of the onion. And
Awesome.
yeah.
Love it, man. Well, thanks again to everybody that's listening. Please go ahead and follow both Tom and Sarah. Go watch the films over on the on the Drive's YouTube channel. Go check out the older episodes on Tom's personal YouTube channel as well. You can go ahead and find Sarah's 964 video on that YouTube channel as well. And I can't wait for the 964 to be done. And if you do end up doing a K24 swap into a 996, Tom, I mean, you're gonna be my hero for life. So I kind of low-key want you to do it now to be actually.
Let's hope that doesn't happen.
Let's hope we don't. Let's hope we don't
Let's
need
hope we
to.
need to.
Need
Let's
to,
hope
yeah.
it's an elected. Let's hope it's an elected swap that I'm like, I'm bored. Let's fuck with it.
Oh God.
I love that. All right. Well, everybody, thanks again for listening. You can go ahead and find Tormenting Tarmac on Instagram, as well as you can find Tormenting Tarmac streaming on Apple and Spotify and all those other different audio platforms. And you can go ahead and find our YouTube channel for when we can go ahead and post up our Zoom recorded interviews. I'll do my best to try and see if I can go ahead and add this one on there. But if not, listen to it, and it's been a banger. On behalf of Sarah, on behalf of Tom, my name is Jorge Aquino. You've been listening to Tormenting Tarmac. It's the podcast where the enthusiast never dies. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.